This video is looking at how to create a granny square in the round with multiple colors. So we're going to start out with a slip stitch and count out 3 single crochet. 1, 2, 3. That's going to become our first treble, so we're going to work into that first stitch. So making 2 trebles. That's 1 treble. And essentially that's 3 trebles because we're using that first triple chain, sorry, that first set of 3 chain as our first treble. So that's 1, 2, 3. Now each corner is separated by 1 chain, so chain 1, and then we'll go ahead and make 3 trebles into that center ring again. So that's 1, 2, this yarn is nice and chunky. It also, as you can see, has many twists through it, so it does tend to grab. But when you are working with your fibers, you want to make sure you pull through nice and clean, and a lot of that comes from keeping less tension on your yarn. And if you do need to go back, I do suggest you clean up the yarn as best you can. So that was my last stitch of my treble. Okay, so that was what we've got is our first set of trebles separated by a chain stitch and then 3 trebles. So we're going to chain stitch. So 3 trebles into the center ring. 1, 2, 3. And then because this is obviously going to be a granny square, we need to add our 4th side on, separated by 1 chain. So that's 1, 2, 3. And now what you're going to do, so you've got your 4 corners coming up on the 4th one, you're going to chain 1 to fill in that corner, and then we're just going to hook on to the 3rd chain of our first set of chain 3. So you can see it stretched out there. So you're just going to simply pick that up on the hook, yarn over, pull it through both those stitches, lock it off, grab some scissors. You don't need too long of a tail. And then I like to just pull that through one more time to the back and lock that off. So we've got a beautiful first round of a granny square with 4 corners of 1 chain stitch. So now you're going to swap your color. I'm going to switch to this nice bright fuchsia, and you are going to chain stitch. Sorry, you're going to slip stitch your first stitch on, and I suggest you work away from the corner you just finished on, so find a fresh corner. In this corner we're going to have 2 sets of 3 trebles separated by a chain stitch, but we're going to insert, yarn over at the back, it's a bit twisted, but yarn over at the back, pull that through, and then you have these 2 stitches. And what happens here is if you actually yarn over and pull through both of those, you've essentially created your first stitch of the first chain 3. So that's 1, 2, 3. And we'll follow up with 2 trebles. 2. Okay, so that's 3 trebles essentially. Pull that nice and snug to one side, chain 1, and we're going to do another set of 3 trebles in that same hole. So essentially we've just created our first corner, and I'll show you what that looks like. So when you puff it all out, you've got 3 trebles, 1 corner, so a chain, and then the next set. So what we need to do now is jump over to our next corner, but we can't just jump over, we need to actually cross the bridge. So what I do is 1 chain, and that is actually enough fabric to get us across. So then we go yarn over, and we create our next corner with 3 chains, 3 trebles, 1 chain, 3 trebles. You always want to make sure those stitches are nice and taut to the right. So 3 trebles, chain 1, 3 trebles. I know these corners can seem like they get really tight, but once you wiggle the stitches around and give them a bit of ease, they sort of settle into their own sort of position, and you'll find that they line up quite nicely in that corner there. So that's our first corner, our chain 1 bridge, and then our second corner. So we're going to go ahead and jump that bridge to the next corner with the chain 1. And 3 trebles. Third one. So we're going to stack those up on the right. Chain 1. 3 more trebles. Number 3 in there. So we'll just ease and work those into a nice corner. Let's pucker that out. Okay, and then we've got 1 more corner to go. Tucking away. So let's just be sure that we know where it is. So we've got the corner there. We're going to treble. See that I'm sort of working over that old yarn from the round below, which is a nice way to darn in while you work. Not required, but you can. And I always just let it sit the way it wants to, so that one's obviously going backwards. You don't have to go forwards with them. That's 2. Okay, so we've got 4 corners. Now we just need to jump over the bridge and finish this round 2 off. So chain 1, and we work that into the last chain of the first 3 chains. So we're going to yarn over, pull through 2, snip the yarn, and tie it off. So that's got round 1 and round 2 of a granny square, and I will post round 3 in another video. Hooray!